What's going on, guys? I'm Mr. Black Magic, back again with Omega D's, and this is our review for The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 2 on Xbox One.
Oi.
It's a top-down, dungeon crawler slash RPG. One of those kind of Diablo-style games.
Yeah.
Second, it's a sequel, so if you played the first one on PC, or it was also on Xbox One. Similar style game to that, same type of game. This is actually my first game like this.
You didn't play Diablo?
Never played Diablo, never played really any game like this.
Yeah.
I
think
2 Human or something like that might be like the closest.
Well, do you play the Sacred 2?
Nope.
Oh. Okay.
Yes, I mean this was like brand new to me, so my thoughts on the game, that's the point I'm coming from, is brand new to this kind of genre. Yeah. But so yes, I mean the game, Van Helsing, the kind of based on, was that a book, I guess?
I think it's
movie?
Hugh Jackman's life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm pretty sure it's a book.
Whatever property that is, based on him, and the world's filled with mythical creatures, and he's the hunter. He's got a lot of pop fiction, or kind of folklore elements in there. There's stuff like Dr. Jekyll's mask, or Hannibal's mask, and some guy's name is Dr. Jekyll, or there's a part where there's a mission to save Private Brian, not Ryan, but Brian.
Yeah.
And I swear this one wizard that we saw was Gandalf. Like, he had to have been like a Gandalf ripoff. It never said that, but I swear that's what it was supposed to be.
I never caught his name, but it looked just like that was a reference thing.
Yeah, and there was the whole like bridge thing, but yeah. So the game, there's 3 classes to choose from. The class I went with was called Thaumaturg. I'm not sure how the hell you're supposed to pronounce that, but it's essentially a mage, spellcaster. Has different abilities like energy bolts. You can throw, the ones I was using were like energy bolts, firewall, big thunderbolt you can shoot down on people. There's like mind control, ice storms, all sorts of crazy spells you can do. And what was one you picked?
I think it's just called a hunter.
Yeah, just like the standard one with the pistols.
It's like the warrior sword and guns. He's got some magic too, but I just now started getting into that. I was leveling up the skills with the guns and the sword.
Yeah. So it's like what my guy, is like he didn't really have a weapon because it's all spells. So like the weapon slot was just like a thing you put over your forearm, I guess, that enhances your, abilities. Like,
put on a life alert bracelet.
Yeah. And then your guy would have either, like pistols and swords, like you said.
Or blunderbuss. It's kind of, there's a few different types of guns.
And then there's a third class as well, which neither one of us tried that one out. That one I think is kind of like a hybrid class. Yeah.
Yeah, arcane mechanic. He probably is a hybrid of the two.
But there is, I mean, the game is a little overwhelming in terms of the UI. I mean, maybe if you're, a huge fan of these types of games, or you're coming from like a PC, as a PC player, then maybe it's a little less daunting. But for me, it's like, Jesus, the amount of shit in that UI, like in the menu, is ridiculous. Because you have your skills, so your skills are like the energy bolts, firewall, things like that. For the mage character I was using. But then the skills can each be leveled up, so it'll make it do more damage or cost less mana.
And they got like bonus things you can unlock and level up.
Yeah. So then there's like 5 power-ups that go with each skill. Or like for the energy bolts, one of the power-ups might make it so you shoot 3 instead of 2. Or
some of them actually only have 2 that I noticed with the guns.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you gotta be like higher level to get them, so I don't know what they do. Not high enough level yet.
Yeah, but then there's auras, which are like passive abilities. You know, it'll just increase, you know, like a couple ones, for instance, it'll be ranged reduction or plus 5% damage um, to like elemental types, or plus 5 parry chance or something like that. But then there's also tricks where it's just like another ability essentially, but they're just under tricks, you know, instead of skills. But I mean, they're pretty much the same thing. You know, the one we were using a lot was the healing radius.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only one I use.
Yeah, where it just heals anyone in like a 10-meter radius around you.
Yeah.
Or another one I liked was with the companion, you'll make 2 illusions for the companion, so it's like basically 3 of them fighting for like 30 seconds or something. Or I guess until they die, actually. Either that or until the ability just times out.
I didn't even notice that one.
Yeah, that one was pretty good. Yeah, but then I mean, it's you know, you also have these perks that you get from reputation points, and you know, the rep points you get from killing just powerful enemies or bosses, just bigger enemies. You don't get it from. That's where you majority where you'll get it from is the bigger enemies instead of just like the little grunts.
Yeah.
And that'll, you know, that has. And I started noticing that the perks, you'll unlock some depending on what you're doing. So like I was using a bunch of lightning stuff, and then it unlocked a perk for plus 10% lightning damage. Or like once I upgraded my firewall skill, it unlocked a perk for plus 10% fire damage.
Did it just show up in the perk list or something?
Yeah, it'll just show up in the perk list for you to learn it.
Alright.
So it kind of, I mean, you'll start off with, you know, 7 or so that you can choose from, but as you start upgrading your character, it'll start unlocking more that kind of go towards what you're doing, you know?
Yeah, I haven't unlocked anything.
Which I thought was kind of cool.
I need to start switching up stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
All I do is cut stuff and shoot it.
Yeah.
Mess with those magics a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it does have there's a character sheet that, you know, breaks down all your stats. So it'll list out what your cooldown percentage is and critical hit chance and, you know, damage per hit and all that. I did think it was a little overwhelming though.
Yeah, I mean, I played a couple games like that before, and there's a lot of stuff to learn and find in those menus, man. I found it a little overwhelming also. And
I mean, they don't tell you that the game kind of just throws you right in from the beginning.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that's I actually went back and played the first one for a minute before we picked up on that one, and they actually explained some of the stuff they didn't explain in the beginning of the second. So it's like they left that out because they assumed you played it before or something.
Your lowly messenger.
Yeah.
Like, that's the feeling I got from it. Like, you know.
Well, unfortunately for me, I hadn't played the first one yet, so I'm like, okay, just learning this stuff on my own. All right. You know, I mean, there's like a tutorial. There's tutorial little menus in the main menu, but you know, games usually kind of teach you that stuff from the beginning instead of just like, okay, let me pause and read all these tutorials in the menu. You know, most games they kind of just naturally teach you things, but this game just basically throws you in. Here's all this shit. Go.
Van Helsing, join us immediately.
I did it.
So the game's 4-player co-op. You know, any pick any 3 characters. You can only join up as long as you're up to the point of your co-op partner. So if I'm on chapter 2 and you're only on chapter 1, you're not gonna be able to join me, but I can join you.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's like the one thing I don't like the most about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine if you're playing with someone like non-stop, you know, you're not playing without them, but the moment you pass them, they can no longer join you. Now you have to join them and catch back up.
Yeah,
you know, replay the stuff. Yeah.
Maybe maybe that's to keep people from like boosting levels or something.
I guess, yeah, I'm sure that's what they were thinking. It just seems like, I don't know, if you I mean, the levels, the enemies would be stronger, you would think. So if you wanted to join me and you were under leveled, you would just get destroyed, you know?
Yeah.
If that's your choice, then fuck it, go get destroyed.
Yeah. I mean, how far ahead can you get before you have to, you know? Ain't it pretty? It's not too far, is it? Like a
Yeah.
couple missions and you gotta go back to the other save, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
So you also have a companion that follows you around, which I found really useful because at picking a mage character, you know, you're just sitting back casting spells. You know, you don't need to be right up on the enemy because you can just sit. You know, it's all ranged spells. You know, and so I thought it was cool how the companion, you can kind of switch how she plays. So you can either make her like a ranged, where she'll just sit back and shoot, or you can make her melee, where she'll just run up and attack everyone in melee damage, or you can make her into a ghost, which she'll just stay invisible basically and stay behind you and heal you and support you while you're doing all the work. And so as a mage, I'd switched her to a melee, so she's up front fighting everybody head on, and all the enemies are kind of looking at her while I'm in the back banging people with spells, you know, and they're kind of not touching me, because basically turning her into my own personal tank while I sit back and cast spells.
I'm using her as a meat shield.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's essentially what she is.
What else? I had her in the heal mode, but like with everything focusing on me, I was getting smashed. So, you know,
Yeah.
like, she's my distraction. I just hang back and shoot them in the face.
And then
That's
just
gonna
like
work.
with your own character, you can upgrade her abilities, you know, so you can upgrade her health and dexterity and willpower and all that to make her better. And then she also has her own skill trees, and each skill tree kind of goes with those 3 stances. So like it's Sentinel, Corpus, and Spectre. It's like the Corpus one goes with the melee stance, where it'll, you know, her attack speed will go up, or health will go up. Or, you know, if you go with the Ghost one, then her healing abilities and more support skills, you can put points into that.
Yeah.
And then she'll also pick up items for you. You know, you can select what items she'll pick up, and she has her own inventory, so you can kind of use her inventory, yeah, as extra space for you. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I do with her inventory. I haven't found a way to make her equip anything, so I basically just have her hand.
Yeah,
everything,
there's
load
only
everything I
certain
can.
items you can equip on her. I mean, you can give her stuff like like, I don't know if it changes based on the stance, but because I have her in melee, there's certain swords I can give her.
Yeah, I did give her a sword. I forgot about that.
Yeah, but then obviously, you know, you can't give her like a chess piece just because.
Just a ghost.
Yeah, I mean, she has her own kind of setup, so you can't just give her like chess piece and rings and all that.
Yeah. Give her health
Which, I mean,
potions, too.
that's
So,
another thing is there's 12 total slots in your inventory. You know, from your melee weapon to your, if you have a hunter, you know, your pistol, your rifle, or your chest piece and rings, and you know, there's a lot of spots you can upgrade, and then it gets into, you know, it gets more in depth when you start. You can enhance your weapons and put in this essence that'll make it stronger, and you can re-roll your items to try and change a stat to a stat you want it, you know, you'd rather have.
Yeah.
So instead of like +5 speed or something, maybe you want +5 damage or fire damage or something like that, and you can try and re-roll it and get that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to learn in that game.
Yeah, I mean, just even in the lair, you know, your home base, you know, there's all these different people that you can go talk to. There's this like whole little resistance mini game where you can you have these captains, and each captain has their own style, like their own kind of fighting style. It's like one guy's more like a stealth planner, one guy's more just like a charge-in military guy. And
Like Dragon Age Inquisition.
Down with science.
oh yeah, does that have that?
Yeah, you can send people out on missions, and they got different styles like that.
Yeah, so you send them on a mission, and then you have your troops, and you can pay gold to upgrade your troops, and then you send them off on a mission, and you kind of have to based on the description of the mission, and you can also ask each captain and see what they think about it. And so it's kind of like a little mini game within a game where you have to pick the right captain for the mission. You know, if you pick the guy, if it's supposed to be like a stealth kind of sneaking mission, you just pick like the all-out military guy, well, he might fail. Yeah, he has a better chance to fail. And then if they succeed, then they might have a bunch of rewards that you can get. But then, you know, there's a timer. So it's kind of like, you know, the only thing I could think that I've played like that is Assassin's Creed kind of had that same type of system.
Oh, yeah.
Where you could send the assassins on assassination missions and all
Metal
that.
Gear. Metal Gear has that.
Oh, yeah, that too, yeah. So, yeah, that
Kinda
same
fun.
kind of little mini-game style.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into that yet in Van Helsing.
Yeah, I think
Check
when
it
you're
out.
playing in co-op, only the host can do that. So there's a couple things that it seemed that was the case where if you're playing in co-op, you know, the co-op partners don't really have access to everything that the host does.
Yeah.
Especially when you get
I
into
mean, that makes
layer.
sense. Like, we can't all be sending dudes out doing different missions.
Yeah,
You know, like, this, that makes sense.
yeah.
I'll have to try that in single player, though. Check that out.
And then there's also in the layer you can do a little tower defense mini game where you can have your AI just kind of do it on their own because you know the guy will be yelling at you, hey, we need to defend these tunnels, and you can either have them do it themselves or you can go down and do it yourself as a little tower defense mini game. Which you know, I tried that out. It's pretty cool. It's there's like 2 or 3 ways enemies will come and you can set up. There's like specific spots where you can select what type of trap you want to be there. So it'll give you usually 2 options. It's either 1 or 2 options you can choose from.
Yeah.
And so like one option might be like a freeze trap. And you know, when enemies walk over it, they get frozen, take a little damage, they walk slower. Or one trap might be werewolves, where if they walk close to it, then a bunch of werewolves will spawn and start fighting them. And so, but then you can also just attack yourself. So that stuff is just kind of to assist you, but then you can still use all your abilities plus your companions there with you to also fight all the enemies off. Which I thought that made it a little more fun than just like, you know, normal tower defense where you're kind of just sitting there watching all the shit just
Yeah.
play out on its own. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I don't like tower defense. Because it's like, what are you actually doing?
Well, yeah, it's just like set up and then just like set your controller down and watch this.
Yeah.
Like it's that, but then you're also in the thick of it yourself. You know, you're also fighting yourself. Those things are more just to help you instead of just do all the work. You said.
I have to check that out too. I don't think I must have checked that out when I wasn't in the game. I
Yeah,
don't
well,
remember
that
that.
unlocks. Well, that like I said, you can. I think that unlocks pretty early, but you don't have to do it. You know, you can
Yeah,
just
it's just-
send the guys to do
yeah.
it themselves. It's just there as an option, as a little extra mini game.
Yeah.
Um,
It seems like there's a lot in this game. Like content
Yeah, I
wise.
mean there definitely is. I mean, and I mean the you know the missions themselves, they're really open. You know, you'll find random guys around that'll you talk to them, and depending on the dialogue option, you might get another quest for them. Or you know, I was looking into some stuff like like for one guy, maybe you pick option A, and he'll give you an item. And maybe there's like an in-game achievement tied to that. But if you pick option B, then he'll become a boss in chapter 3, and you'll get an in-game achievement for that.
That's. Yeah, I didn't even look at none of that.
Yeah. So and it's like that's just kind of like a random little side quest within, because I mean the you know when I think of like dungeon crawler, people say dungeon crawler, I'm thinking real linear. You know, like here's a dungeon, just walk through and you're done. These are, I don't know, I didn't get that sense from this game.
I'm getting it, but that's the last, I guess, true dungeon crawler I played with Diablo 3. If that's even considered a dungeon crawler, but I mean, like it's pretty open like that. So.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
And well, Dungeon Siege, basically same thing. Yeah, they're pretty open. From what I can think of.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I was thinking when people say that'd be more linear, but yeah, I mean, I liked how it was really open and tons of different branching pathways, and like especially in later on in chapter 2, you get into this open snow area that not only is it really big in there, but then you take a portal and you go to like another whole section that's completely separate of that, and that area is huge too. And then I think there's like 3 or 4 areas, and it's called like the Giant's Wood or something. I think it is.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that yet either. Did we? I don't know.
I think you were there with me at the very beginning of that section.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean I enjoyed the game.
Yeah, I like what I played too. I liked it enough to where I'm gonna go back and play the first one.
Yeah, I mean I think if if you're a fan of the style of game, and for me who's not a big fan of this style of game, I mean if
Yeah.
but I mean that I enjoyed it, I think says something. But
Yeah.
I'm also not not accustomed to like maybe some of the higher quality games, so that opinion might change for other people who they're coming from, something like Diablo or whatever that they think is amazing, and then this is like not as good. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a smaller budget game.
yeah,
What's the price tag on it? $14.99.
yeah, it's $15. I mean,
I think it's worth the price tag.
yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. I think the max character level is 60. And it's 3 classes you can pick from. You can have multiple characters at once.
Yeah.
There's a PvP mode, which we didn't get to try out because I think you have to be max level to even get into the PvP mode.
Yeah, I never see an option to join that anywhere in the game so far. So.
Well, yeah, it doesn't say what level, but when you try and click on find PvP match, it says you can't play this because you're not high enough level. So I'm just guessing it's 60. Like you have to, have a level 60 character, which is kind of weird. I mean, you would think they'd kind of tier it off. Maybe if you're like, okay, level 1 to 10, play in this, this kind of section. Level 10 to 20 or 11 to 20, play in this.
Yeah.
The fact that it's kind of like, well, you can't play. Period.
Maybe they want you to learn everything first. Go through the story. Learn all the tricks
unlock
and
more stuff and unlock
Yeah.
other abilities, yeah. Which, I mean, there is a lot more to it once you beat the game. You start unlocking, like there's an endless mode where you just keep playing until you die, and then once you die, you're done. There's like a scenario mode where it sets you up in certain scenarios that are more difficult than the story, like just like the normal story missions. So I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a ton to do. I mean, it's ridiculous how much is in this game.
Yeah.
Not only in terms of your character, but gameplay wise as well.
Yeah. Well, you can even import your character from the first one if you have one.
Yep, that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty. I always like that in games, like that feature. Like even if it doesn't import anything but the backstory, I like that because it keeps consistency for me in between sequels. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a cool feature to have in a game.
So what would you think for a rating? What would you give it?
I was thinking 7.
Yeah, I would go 7.5. So I think we're in agreement there, right around that same area.
Yeah, either one of those numbers works. I mean, it's not that big of a difference. Yeah, 7.5.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had fun with it, and I'll continue to play it. So it's definitely been worth the time,
Yeah, and I mean, I had a lot of fun playing it in co-op. I mean, it's cool playing it solo as well, but I enjoyed it more as a co-op game. Well, all right. So let us know what you guys thought in the comments. Make sure to subscribe for more reviews, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Sadly, it wouldn't go well with my attire, but it's incredibly powerful. We should keep it.